Do you have a Holley fuel injection system that's been running bad and you can't figure out why? Well, so do I. Today, we're going to spend a little bit of time and try to fix mine with a super easy fix that's only going to take about 10 minutes of your time. Stick around. What's up, everybody? This is my 1967 Firebird, and this is a Terminator X Stealth that has been intermittently causing me issues. Alright, so, like I said, this is my Terminator X. For a while now, this dude has been acting like it's missing almost. Like if this was on a carbureted system, I would tell you for sure that my problem was ignition, because it seems like it's running on 7 intermittently. And it's been driving me crazy. Of course, intermittent problems are the absolute hardest things to troubleshoot because they don't do it on command, they do it when they want. I'm about to make a mess here with fuel. I might be able to do this operation without taking this fuel line off, but it's just going to be easier to do it. A less cussing job if I just take it off. So, being a Stealth, this is basically designed to look like a 4150 carburetor. You know, just got a fuel bowl on either side that doesn't actually house fuel. It just has, it's an injector housing basically. Well, that wasn't too bad. Getting worse. Sit. Be cool. Alright, there we go. But basically what happens is, as you're driving down the road, it'll just start running bad. Kind of like it's running on 7. So I'll be driving along, and all of a sudden I'll lose power, it'll start running rough, and then I'll have my foot in it, and it'll all of a sudden pick up. But it'll actually like throw you back in the seat, even at like part throttle, as all your power comes back. And like I said, I was thinking it was the Hyperspark setup, because it felt like ignition related, but I've changed everything in here except for the Hyperspark itself. I've changed plugs, I've changed wires, I've changed the Hyperspark coil even. No dice. So I finally broke down after I tried everything I could think of, the O2 sensor, etc. And contacted the guys at EFI System Pros, which is where I bought this Terminator kit from. They're awesome. If you're thinking about Holley fuel injection, as much as I have a lot of respect for Holley, I would really say buy from EFI Systems Pros. Their customer service and tech support is just top notch, tough to beat. So I contacted him, and Scott from EFI Systems Pros said he bet that I was having an intermittent injector issue because of the plug probably only being partially connected. And it's actually pretty easy to check, and I actually didn't realize this. I thought the injectors were all integral to this. I thought if you had a bad injector, you had to replace the whole throttle body. That's not true. You can actually change them pretty easily. So we're gonna pop these bowls off here, and I'd really like to find a smoking gun, but I'm not usually that lucky, so, you know, it'd be nice if one is noticeably loose, but chances are I'm just going to put a zip tie on all of them to make sure they're all the way connected. Then we're going to just try it and see what happens. Now the other thing to note, troubleshooting wise, is if it's doing it all the time, like not intermittent like my problem, you know, they said that if you just kind of have it running and then put your head over, you can see which injector's not firing and narrow it down to know which one of the 4 or 8, depending on your throttle body model, you need to play with. Because my issue's intermittent, I'm not going to mess with that, because I might find myself just out here breathing exhaust fumes, running the car in the garage, you know, for absolutely no gain for hours while I try to get it to cause the issue. Give her a nice firm tug there, and it came. Boy, that one right there is kind of loose, it seems like. Let's get in here and look at this. So I took a still image that I'll show a close-up on, but when we get in here and look at these, this guy here, you can see it's kind of flat, pretty or close to it, kind of all the way down in there. But when we look at this dude, see how it's angled outwards? That one might be our problem. That's not all the way in. Did I just get lucky enough to find this on the first try? I might not take the back bowl off. I might just grease these O-rings, put this back in, put this down, maybe with a zip tie to hold it to make sure it stays in, and take a test drive. Okay, so what I actually ended up doing here is going with 2 small zip ties, one around the body and one around the plug, to keep it held in there without pulling super tight on anything. It's kind of an awkward fit, nothing straight, so that's why I went with 2 instead of 1. But like I said, don't pull it crazy tight. You don't want to pull on the wires or anything. Just make it so it's basically a safety wire and it can't back out. Now, one thing we're going to do before we reinstall this is we're going to throw a little bit of grease on these O-rings just so we don't pinch them when they go back in, especially because you kind of got to go back in blind. You can't see it. So we're going to throw a little bit of grease, at least on this one. This one didn't come out. We're not going to pull that out because that's just more of a chance that we tear the O-ring. So we're going to grease both of these and then just this one here. So hopefully it slides back in smoothly. You can really use anything on these. The EFI System Pro's video just said do not use transmission fluid or something like that might be corrosive. I'm just going to use a little dab of white lithium grease here. But they said, you know, engine oil, anything like that would be fine as well. Oh, that slid in nice and easy. Now, slide our bowl back on. You don't feel real super positive engagement here, like I kind of would expect, but it's all lined up, so I feel like it has to be in there. Now, I'm not ramrodding this in, I'm kind of going in one at a time, because again, we're pulling the body onto those injectors on the bottom. So I want this to go on evenly, I don't want it to go on sideways. Alright, in theory that's all there is to it on the front. You know what, that was so easy. I am going to pull the back bolts off and look at them just to see so I don't have to do this all again. Alright, the back is off. These guys both look like they're all the way down in there fully seated. I just spilled more fuel everywhere. It's okay. We'll clean that up. So I'm just going to push these down a little bit, lube up these O-rings, throw this back on, and then throw the fuel line back on. Okay, everything's back installed except for the air cleaner. I'm going to get in here, crank it up. It should more or less fire right up after the fuel gets back to the injectors. Then I'm going to try to lean over and just see if I can see if there's still an injector misfiring. But I feel pretty good about this. I feel like we might have solved a problem that I've been fighting for the better part of a year. Saw a little bit of a spit there when I turned the fuel pump on, but I don't see any leaks. The fuel systems on these come on for like 5 seconds and turn off to prime the system.
When they first fire up, that goes away after it's warm. I think it's the IAC. Also, sometimes my car sounds like it's kicking. It just has loud lifters. It's always had them. They've been like that since I brought it home. I can see fuel in every bowl, so I think we're good. I think we've solved the problem. I'm going to take it out of the road, put a few miles on it, and see if we have that issue that I've been dealing with.
All right, last note here real quick. Now, I've done a pretty good leak check on this after it was running and all that, and, you know, I dried up the fuel that we spilled earlier, but we still did mess with the fuel system. So when you go for a test drive afterwards, make sure you got your fire extinguisher with you. You know, if you start to see smoke or something like that, stop, put out the fire. Don't burn your whole car down or hurt yourself. So I can't quite claim victory yet because, like I said, this has been an intermittent issue, so it has gone days without doing it before, but that went as smooth as it could be for about 20 miles. So I'm really happy with this. So, you know, we've all seen people complain about their Terminators and their Snipers and their FI Tech throttle body systems and be like, man, these things are junk, and went back to carb. They're not junk. Most of the time it's user error. But even when they do have problems, they're usually fixable. So I'm not saying this is 100% going to solve your problem or be what your issue is, but if you have a rough running Sniper, Terminator X, whatever, that's been causing you issues, this is something that's really easy to check, especially if it comes and goes. Because you know you've got a little plug in there that's kind of in but not quite, it fires when it wants to. So, I mean, I spent 15 minutes on this, and that was with filming. You know, if I wasn't filming, this would have taken me 5 minutes. 5 minutes, 2 hand tools, and some O-ring grease. Easy. And I'm pretty sure we fixed it. Like, because it was running super smooth to the point where even when I thought it was running good before, it probably wasn't, and it was probably missing a little bit even then. Super happy with the result for a super easy job. Please like and subscribe. We'll see you next time.